Hey everybody, welcome to the QuiverCast.
You go left, I go right. Man, this wave is out of sight. Going surfing, going surfing, going surfing with friends.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the QuiverCast. Today we are stoked. We have Sean Pearson here. How are you, Sean?
All good, man. Just here in the jungle at home, Nicaragua.
Okay. The waves are always perfect there, right?
Yeah, well, Nicaragua gets really good winds, so
Right.
most of the year the wind's offshore. So any little south swell, it's hitting the coast. There's always something fun to surf around the country.
You ever look for shitty waves? Because their waves are so good, you get tired of them?
Dude, that's a problem I have because when it's shitty, I don't surf. And
Okay.
if I go try to do a contest or anything, most of the time they're in shitty waves. So
Yes.
I'm usually trying to compete in a contest in conditions that I'm not used to surfing in. It's hard. And then like I'll go visit friends up in California or in northern Baja, and it will be cold and onshore. And they're like amping the paddle out, and I'm not.
You're
And
not so much.
it makes me feel bad, but I'm just way too spoiled here. The waves are pretty
Right.
good.
Yeah. So let's go way back. How'd you start surfing?
Well, I grew up in San Diego till about 12 years old, and my dad was a surfboard shaper for Azera surfboards. I was a skater, but growing up around my dad, it was hard not to become a surfer because just living in the surfboard factory, watching him shape all day, going on surf trips, all his friends surf talk around
Yep.
me as a skater. So I just got sucked into surfing that way through my dad. Yeah, fell in love with the sport at around 12 years old and just became full-time surfer.
So tell us about your dad. What's his name and all that?
Dave Pearson, he's from Maui, but made surfboards in Oceanside, California for 25 years, Azera surfboards.
Right.
It was pretty well known. He hasn't shaped in about 20 years, but it was a pretty big brand back at the time. He's had a lot of pro riders riding his boards, and the boards were pretty international, like all over the place. It was a blessing to have him as a surfboard shaping dad because he would always hook me up with fresh sticks.
Okay. So you're
Right.
12 though. So, I mean, were you surfing like here and there before 12? Like, you know, you were a surfer forever? And then you really got into it at 12 or what happened?
Yeah, I didn't really start surfing until 12. I was a
Really?
skater before. Skating was my passion as
Yeah.
a young kid. Yeah, I had sponsors skating, photos and magazines and stuff, and I thought that was
Wow.
going to be the route that I was going to be going, but I got sucked into surfing, started going on some trips with my dad, and fell in love with that. Surfing doesn't hurt as much as skating, so that was nice.
Did your dad push surfing on you? It doesn't sound like he did.
Not really. When I was really young, we had a sick half pipe in our backyard, like a 6-foot ramp, and then
Okay.
we ended up moving houses, so no more ramp.
Oh,
I was like, okay, surfing time. Found some friends that are also surfers and ended up doing homeschool for a little while, and we would just get dropped off at the beach all day and film each other, and that's where the passion became my sport.
who were the guys you were surfing with and what kind of boards were you guys riding? Your dad's, obviously.
Just short boards
Yeah.
from my dad's company, just friends from school around town back in California and northern Baja. This one guy, Kevin Mesa, a lot of people know him. He's pretty a well-known surfer nowadays.
Yeah.
We grew up together surfing, and just some other local kids from Oceanside.
What was your go-to spot? Were you surfing like the pier or a harbor?
Yeah, the pier. The pier was the spot I learned how to surf. But I didn't really progress in surfing until we moved here to Nicaragua. So we'd come down to Nicaragua, started coming here when I was 12, and I would stay 4 months every year.
Wow.
With Tom Eberly. He's another legend surfboard shaper
Yeah.
that my dad was friends with. So I'd live with him for 4 months a year. and that's where I learned Spanish and started living in Nicaragua. I was about 17 years old. My dad moved here full time, so I came here with him. He bought some land out here in the animal preserve in the jungle right in front of a perfect wave called
Yeah.
Playgrounds. We were living in tents for a year building the camp
Wow.
at 17, and it's in the animal preserve, so there's been some problems over the years having the camp out here. All good now. Camp's going and life's moving.
When you first went to Nicaragua, what was your first thoughts?
Oh, I loved it.
Did you?
Perfect waves, good food, cheap. Got a bunch of local friends. Surfing wasn't really big down here back then. There was only a few surfers in the entire country, so it was a really new sport. So I kind of grew up with the sport in the country, which was cool because, yeah, the waves were perfect, the crowds were light, and I just fell in love with it. I didn't want to go back to the States. I cried on the airplane home, just like, I don't want to go back, stay
Right.
here forever.
What was the cultures? It was so different. It had no cultural shock?
There was a little bit because I was just like the only white kid surfing with the Nika kids. They all spoke Spanish, so I quickly had to learn Spanish to hang out and make friends with them. Yeah, not too much because I was so young. I kind of grew up with it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it was the easier transition, you're saying.
for sure.
Right
But
on.
living here in the jungle was a little bit tough because we were like living in tents. I'm 17. There's like no friends around here or like no chicks or nothing. I'm just like only surf life, living in the jungle. Yeah, so at times that became hard, but quickly realized that this is the most peaceful place for my mind to get rest, and less is more out here. It just feels good to grow up here in the jungle. Stoked.
So you're coming from Southern California where you can get a McDonald's down the street. You get anything you want in minutes. You moved to the jungle as a young man, or not even quite a man, still a teenager, really. Like completely different worlds. What was some of the hardships besides what you already stated?
Yeah, I mean, I quickly had to learn how to cook food for myself
Okay.
because like you can't just go down to a McDonald's or wherever. I hear there's not one store, not another house for another hour and a half drive. So
Wow.
everything we do out here, it's like we have to do it ourselves. That was a little bit hard, getting in and out of the jungle, not having a car or anything, just always being stuck here, trying to find a ride from somebody. That was tough, but the good was just being able to focus on surfing and living. Blessed for it. Thanks to my dad for giving me this lifestyle.
Let's say one of your fins broke or something. How do you fix something as simple as you want to surf and now all of a sudden your board's shot?
Yeah, that was a little bit hard. So my dad didn't make boards anymore at the time, so I was getting boards through friends that were in industry that my dad worked with. I would go back once a year, visit my mom, reload on surfboards. I'd get about 7 or 8 boards every year and try to make them last through the season. Sometimes they didn't, and yeah, it was tough for sure. Like getting gear. I remember during COVID year, not that long ago, but COVID year, the camp completely shut down and there was no guests entire year. And I ran out of wax. I had no more wax out here in the jungle. I was tripping. I started shaving the wax off my old boards, freezing it and reusing it on the board that I was riding at the time. It was pretty funny.
Smart.
But yeah, that was one of the best seasons we've ever had down here in Nicaragua. There was no crowds and just pumping south swells all season. But there would be times where I would go to the beach and the waves would be firing and like I'd be sitting there by myself with nobody around just going, do I really want to go surf? It's kind of like dangerous surfing by yourself with nobody around. I would just walk home and not surf. And I'm like, what am I doing? The waves are like 8 foot and firing. Yeah, COVID year was crazy here.
What about the wildlife and stuff? You said you're in the natural preserve of the wilderness.
Yeah, it's the animal preserve. We see snakes almost every day, scorpions, different bird species, turtles coming up on the beach, iguanas, all kinds of insects. You gotta quickly get used to it out here in the jungle for sure. If you don't like bugs, you're not gonna like it out here. Yeah.
Are any of those poisonous or anything dangerous?
Most of the snakes, you gotta be super careful of the snakes. There's a lot of poisonous snakes around here, so don't be messing with them. But
How do you guys get them out of camp?
get the snakes out of camp.
Yeah.
Dude, I hate snakes, so I'm just like, I usually call one of the workers from the camp. I'm like,
All right.
say, hey, come get this thing out of my room. I've had them come into my room like 3 or 4 times, like little coral snakes. I've had big boa snake in my room. Yeah, it's wildlife out here, so, it's just got to deal with it.
So still staying as a young man, and you're going back to California to visit your mom, stock up on boards. As you're getting older, are you liking Southern California, or are you stoked you're out of here?
I enjoy it as a vacation for sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, Southern California as a vacation, getting to go back, see friends, see family, go eat all the food that we don't have here. It's cool. But then the surf bug kicks in, and I'm like, I gotta get home. Yeah, get me out of there. Just this is home for me now. I don't have a home in California or in the States, so it's like everybody gets a little bit homesick and wants to go home. And this is where I feel home is.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wetsuits and stuff. Do you miss that shit?
Wetsuits, definitely not, dude. That's one reason I don't paddle out with my friends when they call me sometimes. I'm like, dude, I gotta put on a wetsuit? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely don't want to use them. Try to take my vacations to places that are warm. But I went to Chile this year in June, trying to score some waves down there, and it was super cold. Man, it feels so stiff in a wetsuit. It's crazy. Yeah, you definitely can't surf the way you want to surf.
Okay, that was a question. So it totally hampers
Yeah, definitely.
your approaching waves and everything?
For sure. Just stiffer body. Yeah, it makes it way tougher in a wetsuit.
Oh, okay.
I mean, for the people that are used to it, I'm sure it's normal, but yeah, I'm not used to wearing the suits.
Yeah. So you were talking about going and surfing contests. Do you enjoy surfing contests?
It's never really been what I've loved about surfing.
Okay.
I just like to do it because I get to see friends and, I don't know, try to challenge myself in something. Yeah, it's never been my passion for surfing. My passion for surfing's always been to look for the perfect wave, try to find like the empty wave with nobody out that's just firing. That's where I get my most enjoyment in surfing more than contest. It's like I said, most contests are in shitty waves, so it's hard to get motivated for that. But if there is an event and good waves, then I get really stoked to get in a heat.
Okay.
That's a good wave with nobody out.
So is surfing to you a sport or a lifestyle?
Oh, it's a lifestyle for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's both, but for me, it's definitely a lifestyle.
You ever burn out on that lifestyle? Just want to get away from it for a little while?
Yeah, I'll take a week or 2 off and just not even think about it. Those are usually the times I'll go up and see my mom or go out and golf with my dad or do something different.
Do you like golfing? What other sports do you like?
Not too many. I like to golf a little bit, but yeah, not too many other sports. I like to watch skating, but skating hurts now. My knees are I try to save my body for surfing, so doing other extreme sports that are going to hurt my body kind of kill it for the surf lifestyle.
Will you ever vacation to go to the snow, like snowboard or anything like that?
Yeah, my mom lives up in Bend, Oregon, right next to Mount Bachelor. So
yeah,
that's the time I'll get to go up there and get a few days on the mountain. And it's so awesome. Like, I suck at it, but it's so fun riding down a mountain for like 3 minutes. It's like riding a wave for 3 minutes. It's so cool. Like, I wish I could do it more. I want to do it more. It's super fun.
Does it translate to surfing, or are they two different things?
Definitely different. I mean, you are riding a board, so That's the similar part, but the way you steer the board is completely different. Yeah, it's fun. I like it.
Let's talk a lot about Nicaragua and you being a surf guy. Let's touch on that. So that's what you're, I don't know if it's a job or like a lifestyle because
Yeah.
it's something you love.
Well, just creating a living for myself, becoming a surf guide, showing people around the country, taking them to the waves. I've studied this coastline since I was 17. I'm 32 now, and
Wow.
learning the waves and tides and winds and what swell works good for what spot. You know, everybody needs the work to support their living. I created my travel business to take people around and show them the best waves this country has to offer. That's my separate business. It's See Nicaragua Travel. That's where I take people guiding. And then my dad, he owns the surf camp called Playground Surf Camp here
Right.
in the Animal Refuge. So when I'm not doing my personal guiding tours, I'll work here at the camp for my dad, doing photography for the guest or a little bit of surf guiding. Yeah, just gotta keep working to support the lifestyle. Recently got married, got a baby on the way, so
Oh,
a lot of
wow. Congrats.
big changes for me.
That's rad.
Yeah, excited for that.
How far up and down? Because Nicaragua is a decent, I don't know how many miles it is, but it's a big country.
Yeah, you can pretty much drive the south to the north in 6 hours. So
Oh, okay.
I've had guests up surfing in the north in the morning and then hop in the car. Waves are good down south. Let's go down south, score down there in the afternoon. It's really quick to get from the south to the north or vice versa.
Rad. How different are the waves as you travel north?
I feel like the waves just get better the
Really?
more
Interesting.
north you go. Yeah, the south is where all the crowds and business is, and that's where most of the offshore winds are in the south.
Yeah.
But when the north gets the good winds, the waves are amazing. There's some world-class waves. A few spots that very little people know about. I mean, there's a wave in this country you can get 30-second barrels on its day. It
What?
doesn't happen often, but it happens.
Is it a right-hander or left-hander? It's like a reef?
It's a left. Nicaragua's the land of the lefts, so if you
Okay.
want rights, go to El Salvador. If you want lefts, come to Nicaragua. You can get rights at the beach break.
But you're a regular foot, right?
I'm regular, yeah. I like both. You can find
Okay.
good rights on the beach breaks here in Nica, but it's more known for lefts,
Yeah. Okay.
for the way the coastline faces.
Yeah. So when you go up north, is the environment just as gnarly as where you are? Like animal-wise and people-wise?
There's certain areas, there's people have built houses and migrated to certain towns with waves nearby, but there's definitely areas that are super out there, poor communities with very little people around that have really good waves.
How do you get the surf forecast? I mean, is a surf line like we have here? We're spoiled with surf line,
Yeah,
or do
I
you
mean,
have?
Here, there's Surfline. I usually use Surfline for the swell size and
Okay.
direction, and then I like to use Windy to check the winds. So that's where I watch my surf forecasting.
Water temperature, does it change?
Yeah, I don't know degrees. I couldn't say a number, but pretty much
Just hot?
all year
Warm?
round. Just get
Okay.
your trunks and jump in. Yeah, it's warm. Around like January to March, it gets a little bit chilly from the upwelling.
Okay.
You might want a vest, or if you're in the south, it gets a little bit chilly just from the
All right.
strong offshore winds.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The offshore winds usually get a lot of upwelling, but it's just
Yeah.
so warm, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just that time of year, usually the swells kind of die out and it's really small. It's a good time
Okay.
to leave and go travel somewhere else. South swells aren't pumping from January to March. It's more the surf season's March to December.
How many boards do you suggest these surfers bring?
Yeah, it's all up to the surfer what they want to ride, but usually here in Nicaragua, if you're not trying to surf the outer reefs or scare yourself, you just use normal shortboards or fishes. Maybe 2 to 3 boards is a good week-long trip. Quiver,
Okay.
yeah, maybe a fish, normal shortboard, and maybe a backup shortboard or like an inch step up from your shortboard. Should be a
Okay.
good starter quiver for your trip to Nika.
What's the average size? I mean, okay, so if you go on your Instagram or your travel Instagram, right? It's head high every day at least. It seems like. Is
Pretty
that the
much,
case?
yeah. You could go find a head high wave pretty much every day from March to December in this country.
Okay.
Yeah, there's always some waves somewhere.
Does it only get bigger or smaller on the off season?
Um,
Or what is the off season actually?
the off season would be mid-January to the beginning of March, and usually,
Okay.
yeah, that's the
It's
time
a
it
short
gets
period.
small. In the south, southern Nicaragua, the winds get really strong, like so strong offshore that you don't even want to surf. White capping offshore, so it
Oh
makes
shit.
surfing really hard and small waves. But when you go to the north during that time of year, it gets a little bit more swell and the winds stay offshore most of the day. It's a good time to be in the north during the off season.
Who is your normal guest? Do you have a range? Like, how good do they have to be of a surfer, or can
Yeah,
they be a beginner?
we get all levels, beginner
Oh,
to
yeah.
advanced. I've taken beginner surfers to the easy soft beach breaks, and then 2 years ago I was guiding Felipe Toledo and Chippa Wilson, trying to find them the heaviest, best waves. It's an all around range of surfers that come here.
Okay, so you're taking some elite guys, right? Chippa. These
Yeah.
guys fucking kill it, right?
Yeah, that was pretty amazing to watch them surf. You don't realize how good those guys are until they're in front of your face live. Like, you see good surfers, and then you watch somebody that's a real pro, and it's just another level. It's
Okay.
yeah, it's crazy.
What did you learn from that experience?
Seeing those guys surf is just it's another level. Like I said, you go to any beach anywhere in the world, and there's always going to be a good surfer out. But
Hmm.
then you go throw a pro out there in that session with that good surfer, they're going to make that good surfer look like a beginner. It's crazy. Yeah, like I think I rip until I go sit next to those guys, and then
That
and
was
then
my
you're
question.
like,
Yeah,
wow.
because
Wow.
you fucking rip. You surf really well.
Thanks, man. I
So
try my hardest. I dedicate my life to surfing. Try to try to surf my best.
will you try to keep up with Felipe, and will you try to keep up with Chippa?
I'll paddle out with them and watch them do airs all over the place, all over my head. Yeah, but it was cool to see. It was a good trip. Those guys are really nice people. It's cool because most of the guests come and you get a good connection and you meet people from all around the world. You don't really get guests that come and are dicks and just want to, like fight with you in the lineup. Everybody comes humble and nice and respecting the culture and the country. And it's good to have those people down here.
If I was going to go to Nicaragua, I would want you as a guide, just your knowledge, right? Give us the best opportunity for the best ways, and the reason why we're going to Nicaragua, right?
For sure. Yeah. What I do on my personal trips is I've made connections with surf camps and house rentals, Airbnbs up and down the coastline. So when people book through me, it's usually kind of a last minute where we're going to stay thing, depending on
Okay.
the swell and tides and winds. So they'll
Okay.
say like, "Oh, I'll book a trip in June." Okay, the trip's getting close. What's this swell doing? Oh, it's going to be good in central Nicaragua or northern Nicaragua. Let's go stay here because this is where the waves are going to be best. It's a full-on surf trip, so I'm just trying to get people on the best waves for their ability while we're eating local culture meals too. So you get
Okay.
to eat local, support the local community, get to surf the best waves in the country. And I usually don't take big groups of people, so it's kind of private. We're not going to go show up to a spot with 12 people like some of the
Hmm.
surf camps do and ruin it for everybody else out there surfing. I like to do 3 to 6 people or
Okay.
my trips, which isn't a lot to ruin a lineup.
No, especially if the waves are really good and there's lots of waves.
Yeah.
Not a big deal at all. In Nicaragua, surfing being such a new thing, the last 20 years maybe, how are the locals embracing surfing?
There's a lot of locals surfing and they're getting good. The level of surfing's moving up here. They're starting to train fitness, exercising, nutrition. It's becoming a sport here. The locals are really welcoming to international surfers coming. There's not a lot of heavy localism, like yelling at people, kicking them out of the water. Usually if somebody paddles out with respect, gives the local their space, they're going to treat you good.
Like anywhere in the world, really, though, right?
Yeah.
Kind of works the same way.
Definitely.
Where they're getting their equipment and stuff, are people leaving stuff behind for some of the local kids and stuff?
That's another problem with like the younger generation. There's
Right.
not a lot of money here in the country, so these kids, they don't have money to go buy a brand new surfboard or
Yeah.
not even a surf shop to go get a new surfboard. So they kind of rely on the tourists leaving them gear behind, or
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they get local jobs with hotels and surf camps and get to make a little bit of money. And it depends on kind of how into the sport that the local gets into it. If they want to invest their money and time into the sport, you're either broke and stoked or you're just, you're just working. Like it's hard to get gear here for sure. I usually, when I'm done with my boards, I'll give them to the local kids here at playgrounds, and they can break them into 3 pieces.
So playgrounds, let's talk about that for a minute. I've never surfed it, but it looks perfect and just fun. I've been told it is heavier than it looks.
It's pretty much backwards lower trestles. So
Oh, okay.
right at
Okay.
lowers, it's like the left at playgrounds. It's a cobblestone reef, little river mouth. All level
Hollower.
surfers love it.
Yeah.
It's beginner to advanced. I feel like it's one of the most rippable waves in the country. You're not standing in barrels, but I mean, you're surfing really fast down the line, doing some of your most progressive surfing at this wave for sure. And then we also have great beach breaks that the people don't even surf, that are just like spitting barrels on the daily, and there's nobody around, which is amazing.
That is
Really
amazing.
spoiled down here.
Yeah. How many waves do you have in your proximity within like 10-mile radius? Just
Here, playground surf camp, there's probably maybe 7 waves
wow.
that we take the guests to. But playgrounds is the most famous, and that's where you'll see a crowd if there is a crowd.
Well, what's in your quiver? How many boards are you riding and what sizes?
Here's my quiver sitting in my I keep them fresh in the AC, fix them. Every little ding I get, I fix them.
Okay.
I take really good care of my boards, make them last as long as I can. I'm riding 29.5 liters, normal short boards, 5'10" to 6'0". I was riding epoxy for years, but now I'm starting to like polyester a little bit more.
Okay.
But I'll get whatever brand. I'll usually go up to California and hit up some friends from Pizel, JS, Sharp Eye, Icon, whatever boards I can get my hands on that are my size. I'll get them, bring them down here, try them.
Okay.
If they work. If they don't, give them to the locals.
What makes the boards work and not work? Is it the shaper or just the bottom contours?
Yeah, I mean how they float you. If you feel
Okay.
like you're going fast, if you could turn them easy, you could feel what's fun and what's not when you're surfing for sure.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
yeah.
Well, do some boards work at the beach break and other ones work more at the point breaks? And
Yeah,
You have certain
usually the
boards?
ones that I can't do my progressive surfing on, I'll save them for the beach breaks because that's where I break boards. You're just pulling in barrels, and you don't really need a board that works that great if you're just pulling into barrels. So that's where
Yeah.
I get to break the ones that I don't like, and then the ones that I like, I usually save them for the more progressive surfing.
do you ride any of the alternative equipment? Do you ride any fishes or any longboards or anything?
I don't. I would like to try some fishes. I have fun doing what I'm doing, and
Yeah.
I just feel like I haven't needed to get on fishes yet. I don't feel like I could do as progressive surfing on a fish as I can on a normal shortboard.
Yeah, that's for sure. But maybe you want a different feeling under your feet. Maybe, I don't know.
Like when I'm surfing, I'm trying to just go as big as I can every wave. So
Okay.
I think if I'm on a fish, I'm just going to be trying to fly down the line and do cutbacks, or I don't know. Like I want to just do the biggest air into the flats or biggest trick I could do. I don't think a fish is going to let me do it.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
So is your dad still surfing? Is he living there?
Yeah, he lives over down at Colorado, so
Okay.
it's a pretty gringo community with
Yeah.
the family, and he does surf. He rips. He's a really good surfer, but he's more into golfing now. So he's like gotten to the age where he's like, I can't progress in my surfing more, so I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
do something I can progress in, like golfing. So he's
There you
super
go.
into golfing, full golfer guy now.
With all those years shaping, does he ever like bust out a board there?
He's built a couple random ones out here in the jungle. I have one here in the Quiver. I rode it the other day. I pulled it out. It's probably been
Okay.
sitting around for 15 years, and I pulled it out to try it. And I was like, look,
Yeah.
Dad, I'm riding the board you shaped here. Cool. But yeah, he hasn't done many, maybe like 3 or 4.
Okay, so your dad lives in playgrounds. Where do you live?
I live at Playgrounds, and my dad lives at Colorado's.
Oh, Colorado. Your dad lives in Colorado.
Yeah, I
Okay.
live right behind the camp at Playgrounds.
Okay. What's your favorite wave in Nicaragua? Or are they all good for their day?
They all have their days, you know. That's why
Yeah,
you
for
have to
sure.
be on it, running around. You see the swell, winds, tides, and you just jump in the car, and you're like, all right, there's going to be good today. Go there. Yeah, I love Playgrounds for progressive surfing, for sure. It's my favorite wave.
So there is a video on your Instagram. I don't know. That's a couple years back, I think, where you did get injured. You got your fin got you. What happens
you
if
saw
something?
that?
Yeah, I
Oh,
saw
man, that was scary.
that.
Yeah.
It's pretty big gas.
Yeah, so I was riding some big side, like, twin fin things in one of my shortboards, glass fins. Went up, did this floater, jumped off from the floater without the board just because it was like a
Okay.
big drop, like a 6 foot
Yeah.
drop. I didn't want to try to land because my knees were bad, so I was just
Mhm.
jumping off. My leash was really short, so the board slingshotted
Oh,
and hit my back before I landed in the water, and the fin pierced my back all the way into my pelvis. It was pretty gnarly. The doctor has photos of all 4 of his fingers like completely
oh,
into my body. It was a gnarly one, but luckily that week at the camp we had 2 nurses. There was like 2 nurses staying at the camp. They helped me up the beach, took care of me. It was an hour to get to the hospital to stitch it up.
okay.
Hour drive to get out to the city. Luckily the roads were good. Now they're horrible after the storms.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They're like almost unpassable now.
Really? How does that hamper your life, or does it hamper your life, not having everything nearby?
Yeah, I mean, when you need something like an emergency, it's definitely hard. You gotta get in the car and hit those bumps full speed. Your tire might go flying off, but yeah, it's definitely hard for sure. We do here at home. We'll go grocery shop once every like 12 days. So if I'm staying here at home for a while, we'll go shop for 12 days of food and not leave until we're out.
Okay. What is the local cuisine? What is Nicaraguan food?
So a typical meal in Nica, you'll usually get gallo pinto, which is beans and rice mixed up, and then
Okay.
a piece of meat, like either barbecue chicken or beef, pork. They do a lot of soups here.
Mm-hmm.
Plantains cooked in different ways, fried cheese, lots of fruits and veggies. This country's loaded with fruits and veggies, and it's super cheap. You go to the market and you can get a giant bag of veggies and fruit for 20-30 bucks.
Living there is going to prolong your life because you're eating healthy food, it sounds like.
Definitely eat healthy here. If you're cooking your own food, the Nicas use a lot of grease. They cook, everything's fried here. There's a lot of fried food. You
Oh,
go
okay.
out and eat, it's a lot of fried food. But if you're cooking at home and doing your shopping, you can eat healthy for cheap. And I
Okay.
didn't feel like I could do that in the United States.
Mm-mm.
Go into a grocery store in the United States and to go buy some healthy food, you're spending a good chunk of change.
Top dollar, top shelf shit, for sure.
For sure.
What is the government like in Nicaragua? And how do they embrace surfing?
That's something I don't follow too much of.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. Before, we had pretty good support for. I was coaching the national junior surf team years ago, and the government was supporting the national team, paying for trips and stuff. And
Oh, cool.
they know it's there. I feel like it brings more tourism into
Oh,
the
yeah.
country than any other sport. So, I mean, it's coming back. Surfing in Nicaragua, the federation's getting its stuff together, and it's coming back. The support for surfing by the government.
What about you and coaching these kids? How does that go? You go having like a Nicaragua contest to be able to have a team? How
Yeah,
does
so
it?
there's a national series here. They'll do about 4 contests a year.
Okay.
When I was coaching the national junior team, it was during the ISA World Games in Playa Santana.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what year it was. It was probably like 10 years ago. I did
Okay.
that year with the team, and then we went to California and did the Oceanside ISA World Games, and I was
Yeah.
coaching the junior team. It was good. Like, the kids are really motivated to getting better, and they just lack the support and the funds to progress to the next level.
How many other countries in like Central America or South America or whatever, that region, how's their surfing versus Nicaragua surfing?
Yeah, surfing in say Costa Rica, the sport of surfing's been around a lot longer than Nicaragua, and there's a lot more funds and sponsors in Costa Rica for surfing.
Okay.
And then as well as El Salvador. El Salvador's killing it lately. They're doing all the big contests. They named La Libertad Surf City, and
Yeah.
surfing's booming there. The president's really supporting it. So Nicaragua's kind of feeding off of what's around it, progressing slowly but surely in the sport of surfing. I mean,
Okay.
the government should realize that it brings more tourism to this country than anything else. Supporting the local surfers to do what they love should be taken notice.
Yeah. Let's say I booked a trip. Would there be any way to like do something a couple days without surfing, like in the rainforest or something
Oh
like that?
yeah,
Is
for
there?
sure. There's a lake. You could go wakeboarding. You could go volcano boarding, hiking. There's a lot of other
Okay.
non-surf stuff to do. Go out
What
fishing.
fishing? Yeah.
And yeah, you can
I
go
got.
away
I got to
from
know
that.
what's volcano boarding. What the hell is that?
Volcano boarding. You got to look that up. So it's
I
a
gotta
volcano
look that. I've never heard that.
in Leon, and it's just like little pebble volcano rocks, and people
Okay.
hike up the mountain and they charge down it on these little wooden boards. It's called volcano
No.
board. It's one of
Is it
the
fun?
touristy things to do here in Nika. I've actually never done it, but I've always wanted to do it.
Oh, you have to do it.
Thing I haven't done, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't find myself doing like too much tourist stuff. I'm usually just staying by the beaches, kind of finding the waves.
Food. So you just got married. You're having a kid coming. What's life looking like? What's the next 10 years looking like in your future, you think?
That's a hard question to answer. I'm kind of just going
Well, of
day by
course.
day, getting ready.
Okay.
Yeah, just getting ready for the baby, kind of just
Okay.
making sure, just keep working, keep healthy.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
important.
Recently, just stopped drinking, stopped smoking, so I'm just looking forward to continuing that, being the best man I could be to my wife, and trying to be a good example for my kid and the other kids that are coming up surfing in this country. Maybe in my past, I haven't been the best example to the younger generation surfing community, like by drinking and going to the party after the contest or whatever. So I just want to completely change that and be a good example for the people that I'm living around.
Why did you change? And How hard is it to change?
Um, More just because I have a kid on the way, and I don't want something to happen to myself before
That's
I get
good.
to see my kid. And
Of course.
waking up hungover, and that just sucks. It feels so much better to have the energy to live life at its fullest. I could now, without drinking, I could go and surf 2 times a day with
Yeah.
energy rather
Yeah.
than surf 1 time a day and come in and start cracking beers.
Yeah.
It's like it feels way better waking up with a sober mind.
The transition, has it been hard?
I feel like it's only been like 5 weeks for me, but
That's
the
a good.
2 first weeks were pretty tough.
Hmm.
I was kind of having some withdrawals, some crazy dreams, some heart problems. Like my heart was like freaking out, and
Hmm.
yeah, it just made me realize that that's not the path to continue if I want to keep progressing in
Yeah.
a healthy lifestyle. So I wish I would have listened to my dad and my dad's friends who are sober a long time ago. It's kind of a regret that probably a lot of sober people have, that they wish they could have stopped a long time ago.
Okay.
But
All right.
yeah, it's all good.
What's your wife's name? Does she surf?
Yeah, her name's Ornella. She's from Argentina. I met her
Okay.
in California.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
she started surfing here at playgrounds with me. She's been here 3 years. She loves it. She's almost more surf addict than me. I think she actually surfs more than me now. But it's cool. Yeah, she loves it. Now that she's pregnant, she's tripping that she's not going to be able to surf for a while.
I know that's hard for the
Yeah,
females.
but it's all good.
So, do you guys surf together a lot, or do you guys do on your own sessions, your own kind of trip?
Yeah. We live together, surf together.
Okay.
Yeah, we're together almost all the time. Besides when I'm like guiding people around, I gotta
Yeah.
get in the car and go drive people to other places. She'll usually take care of the house.
Yeah. So Snap 5 showed you. So how did that happen?
Which video?
On the Snap 5 Instagram, it showed a video of you,
Oh
the
yeah.
movie.
I guess if you just go out and try a trick 1,000 times, you'll make it eventually, and if you make it, somebody will see it and post it. Yeah, so I don't know. It was cool. Just I didn't even think that clip, like when I did that trick, I didn't even think it was that cool. I almost didn't even post it.
Uh-huh.
And as soon as I posted it, Stab and Snapped and a bunch of people liked it, and I was like, wow, I almost didn't even post this clip. Like I have so many clips on my computer that I don't post, probably thinking like maybe I should post them.
Yeah.
But
Who's videotaping you? Is it just some random guest on the beach?
no, I hired 2 local kids. One shoots in the water, one shoots off the beach, and
Nice.
they shoot the guest all week. And that's part of my job here, is sorting and doing the sales of photos and videos to the guests. So
Oh,
as they're
cool.
shooting them, I'll be getting my clips too, which is nice because I get to come home and do the review.
Yeah. Is that a review to like stoke the guests so they have something to come home with? Are you teaching them anything off these clips? Like you,
No, I'm not coaching them. It's more of just like a memory, like for them to take home.
yeah,
Um,
right.
but watching yourself surf on video, I feel like it's the only way that somebody can really progress in their
100%.
because you may think you're ripping until you watch
Yes.
yourself on video.
It's scary. Scary
Yeah,
difference.
definitely. But that's the way to progress, is to continually watching yourself on video and changing little things and comparing yourself with other surfers that you want to take little bits from.
Yeah. Like right now in the United States and even a lot of parts of the world, Australia and stuff, we're coming up on the holidays, Christmas and whatever other ones people celebrate, Hanukkah, I guess, or whatever. I celebrate Christmas, but what are the holidays down in Nicaragua?
I mean, we get the same holidays. It's just
Okay.
I've never really been a big holiday person. I kind of
Okay.
just lived it as another day and send a message to my family. And I've never really like done too much celebrating of holidays. Maybe as a young kid, Christmas was cool
Yeah.
and Easter and stuff. But now I kind of just like take it for what the real meaning is, and I don't know. I just kind of take it as another day. It's just
All right.
another day.
What about the locals? Do they have any certain holiday or anything that were there the whole country celebrating?
There's like local holidays. I'm not sure exactly which
Yeah.
ones to talk about. They have Christmas and Easter, but when there is holidays, they definitely celebrate it. They love celebrating here. Any chance they can get a day off of work and celebrate something. You can make
Okay.
any holiday, make it a reason to celebrate, and they're gonna celebrate it.
Right on. How far is the drive from Managua to you guys? And how is
Managua
that
to
drive?
playgrounds is 2.5
Yeah.
hours.
That's
So
not bad.
yeah, the last hour the road is really bad. Like I drove in last night at night. I haven't drove the road in like 2 weeks, and it was the worst I've ever seen it. It was
Wow.
unpassable for 2 weeks. We had to
Wow.
hire. The government's not putting any money into fixing the roads out here, so we had to hire the local community to get out there and fix the roads, so we were able to pass it because the rivers completely washed away everything.
Wow.
But it happens every year. Every October, the roads just get absolutely destroyed here. Yeah.
How is the big city of Managua? Is it a fun place to be? Is it safe? Do you
Yeah, I
spend
mean,
time there?
I used to spend more time when I was younger, trying to like
Okay.
go out and party and have fun.
Yeah.
It's safe. It's nice to go out and go to a restaurant and order some food that you don't have to cook.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but, but yeah, definitely going to Managua was fun. There's stuff to see. You can go out to the lake and have a nice local meal and go out at night. It's cool. It's just like it's not a giant city, but I mean, there's a lot of things you could do in Managua.
Now, the people that live inland in Managua or elsewhere in the country, do they understand that there is surfing and this is one of the best destinations in the world where they
Some do.
live? Some do.
Some know that. It's funny because you'll get to the airport and you'll
Hmm.
have all the taxi drivers going San Juan del Sur, San Juan del Sur, San Juan, San Juan. They all think every surfer's going to San Juan, where San Juan is just a bay with no waves, and you got to drive like 20 minutes just to go get like a mediocre beach break.
Okay.
And it's funny because that's like where surfing is known in the country. What they don't know is you can go to all these other places and there's like even better waves than San Juan. And it's
World
funny
class
that
waves.
they're just
Yeah.
like yelling San Juan at you.
Does the general public think positively of surfing?
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
The locals in this country are really nice. Though if you go up and ask somebody for directions, they're going to do their best to help you out. Or if you need
Wow.
help with something like carrying groceries to your car or whatever, there's always somebody out there that's trying to help you just because they want some help too. You give them a little tip, they're stoked, you know. It's a very poor country, so these people are wanting to help you. As a tourist in this country, you should feel safe. So you could definitely find yourself in some dangerous situations if you're out in the middle of the night in Managua going down streets you shouldn't be on. You can definitely find some trouble, just like anywhere in the world.
Right.
Yeah, you're out in the day, you're doing your thing, you're on your vacation. It's safe. There's
Okay.
not much robbery, armed robbery. There's that doesn't even really exist here. I mean, if you're getting your stuff stolen, it's because you probably left your car wide open by itself.
Okay.
Pretty safe country.
What are some of the countries that come and visit Nicaragua? International crew showing up.
As a surf community, mostly it's just United States, maybe some Brazil. That's about it. I mean,
Okay.
and then for non-surf community, there's a lot of Europeans. So
Oh, really? Interesting.
there's a bunch of Europeans that's really growing here. Swiss, Germany, French. There's a big community of French Canadians.
Oh, wow.
Canada, Europe, US. That's the most of the tourism down here.
Okay. Are you a citizen of Nicaragua or are you still an American citizen? Or both?
Yeah, I have dual citizenship.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I got that when I was 20 years old, when I was coaching the national surf team.
Oh, yeah. I guess you had to be, huh?
I got to meet the president with the team. It was pretty wild
Nice.
because
That's badass.
when we built this camp here in the animal refuge, there was no permits to build anything. So my dad got in a lot of trouble, went to court, and they wanted to tear down the house and find a bunch of money. And it ended up happening right at the time I was meeting the president. He pretty much helped save the camp here. Sat one-on-one with the president. He asked me how long I was in the country. Told him 10 years. He's like, oh, you're Nicaraguan. Gave me his son's phone number. Got me a passport. Said my family's not going to have any more problems. House in the animal preserve. Pretty much saved us. That's where the only camp here out at playgrounds. And there's nowhere else to stay out here. And thanks to him that our family is blessed with getting our house saved.
That's pretty awesome. That's kind of a cool thing. Like, that wouldn't happen in a lot of places in the world, but to even get to meet the president, how sweet is that?
Yeah, it was cool. We got to go with the whole national team, and as soon as we walked through the door, he handed the whole team brand new iPads, shook everybody's hand, sat down. His son took us out to lunch. It was a cool experience for sure.
Do any of these politicians or like the president or anybody like that ever come out and visit the coastal areas to see what the surfing thing is?
I don't know. I haven't heard of Daniel Ortega coming out to see surfing.
Checking out the camps.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's doing.
Right on. Do you vote and stuff?
I don't.
In the country?
I'm the least political person you probably ever meet. I don't follow it really.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the language is Spanish. How hard was that for you to learn? I know you talked about it earlier. You had no choice.
Yeah, so the first 4 years we were in San Juan del Sur with Tom Eberly, and I was living with a local family. They spoke zero English, and my best friend in that town didn't speak any English. I would just hang out with him all day, every day, his family, and surfing, moving around. I pretty much learned with him, took a little bit of school, a little bit of classes. Yeah, just over time, slowly got the flow.
Got it. How good are you now? Like fluent?
Yeah, I'm pretty fluent. I could have full conversations with anybody and understand what they're saying.
Do you hear the different dialects from like Mexico, Spanish versus your wife's Argentinian, right? You said, or Chile?
Oh, yeah, definitely, for sure. Nicaraguan Spanish is pretty slow and easy to understand. And then you hear somebody from like Venezuela come talk, and you won't even understand it just because it's so much faster and there's so many like different words, and it's definitely different. All the slang's different. There's a lot of different words for sure.
Okay. The whole central area, is there still unexplored areas where there could be potentially epic waves?
Unexplored, I mean, it's all been explored. All the waves have been discovered, but there's definitely spots, a lot of spots that you can go surf by yourself every day.
Other countries too, around you, below you, south or north of you, do you ever go and try to check those countries out?
I just got back from El Salvador yesterday. I went there.
Oh, wow.
I went there for a surf contest, got some really good waves. But besides that, I don't really travel too much to...
No need.
Yeah, I mean, the waves, I feel like, are good enough here.
Fucking firing there.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We get our storms and our bad days just like anywhere else. But, I mean, when it's on, you're getting so surfed out that you need those breaks.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Yeah. Social media, has that helped you? Do you like it?
Definitely has not helped me.
Really?
I mean, I guess it's helped with bringing me business and giving me work. But in life, with connection with family and living in the moment, it doesn't help you at all.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, connects with family, like as in like, oh, I'm going to write my mom on social media or talk to some family, but I mean, social media has a lot of pollution that can put you in a bad place. Okay. Limited use is good of that.
Well, Sean Pearson, thank you so much for coming on the QuiverCast, dude. It's super insightful, and I'm stoked I got to meet you and have you come on the show, man.
Yeah, so Mike, thanks for having me, dude. That was a good talk.
Everyone needs to go visit you. Go on book a trip with you, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look it up. See Nicaragua Travel, SEA Nicaragua Travel. Check it out. I'm setting up some private trips next year. So I just put a video out on YouTube.
Any advice to traveling surfers coming down to Nicaragua with you? What to bring, not to bring, anything like that? Just good times? Just
Yeah,
bring cold boards?
Positive energy. Don't forget your sunscreen and, and your boards, and get ready to surf.
Right on. Everyone needs to go visit Sean down there in Nicaragua. All right, everybody. This is Mike and Sean.
You go
We are
left,
out of here.
I go right. Man, this wave is out of sight. Going surfing. Going surfing. Going surfing with friends. Ride this wave to the shore. Paddle out, I'm gonna catch 10 more. Going surfing. Going surfing. Going surfing with friends. I don't care if it's wrong or right. I'm gonna do it all day, I'm gonna do it all night. I'm going surfing. Going surfing. Going surfing with friends. On my way, it's a beautiful day. I'm going surfing. I'm going surfing. Going surfing